Hi, sweets. Leaf here with a quick announcement before I let the loonies out. We're going to be taking a bit of a break from the sweet aisle. I don't know when we'll be back, but we will be back. And yes, that is a threat. But in the meantime, Gloop and I have a new podcast in the works, or DreamWorks, if you will, where we'll be watching and reviewing every movie released by DreamWorks from their earliest to their latest. It's called Movies Have Layers, and if all goes as planned, the first episode will be out on the 12th of October, and you'll be able to find it on Spotify and on the Dapper Talks YouTube channel. Anyway, these two are starting to get restless. I better let them out their cages. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
I'm Gloop.
And I'm Kay,
And this is The Sweet Aisle.
where even the simple task of choosing sweets takes an hour and multiple tangents.
All while our poor friend is telling us,
Just pick something!
so let's see where our brains take us this time.
Just a cat update, Solomon's cheek is like squished onto the sofa. He looks extra chubby.
Oh, baby.
Eyes shut and everything.
He is comfy.
This is the first episode. You may not be hearing the cat toy.
And then more jingles.
We assumed he needed one in the earlier ones. Maybe this is the actual answer.
No,
Just
he
sleeping.
kind of did, because every time he was going for any cable.
Yeah.
Whether or not the cable was moving, he was going for it.
That is very
They've calmed
true.
down a lot now, but I think the first 2 or 3 we recorded with Solomon, they were
Yeah,
very
that's-
inquisitive, very curious.
Much littler.
Yeah, so now they're like, oh, I know what you're doing. I'm just going to nap. Because that's what usually happens, is they disappear for a while and we're like, where'd they go?
Yeah.
At least this time we can see them.
Yeah.
I scrolled up the Discord channel with all the pet pictures, and I come across the ones you sent when he was a teeny tiny thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it was like, oh,
When he was like this big.
yes, it was when, when kittens still have that sort of triangle tail.
Yeah.
He was like just growing out of that phase.
Yeah. He was baby.
He was very fuzzy as well.
Yeah, he is less fuzzy now.
Now he's very sleek and handsome.
Yeah, he's looking more like cat than kitten.
Yes.
I mean, all cats are kittens.
Yes, but
Yeah.
there's kitten-looking kittens, and then there's...
Yeah.
Like
my
Jessica is a very old girl now, but she is a puppy.
Yes.
Oh yeah, my black cat Petal, when she was still around. When we got her, she was either 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
And we had her 13 years.
So she was like
Age
17,
17,
18.
18 years old.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe it.
I mean, I would, because I've seen old cats.
Oh, yeah.
They never...
I used to have a tortoiseshell called Josephine, and she had arthritis in her back leg. She lived to about that age.
Yeah.
But again, nothing would stop her.
Yeah, they
She broke
don't.
her. She broke her leg and had a cast on it, which made her leg like an inch longer. She tried to hobble around. She tried to jump. I was like, so you got arthritic back legs. When it's broken, you're kind of losing your balance, and you're still trying to jump on the side. Okay.
Cats are wonderfully stupid creatures.
Josephine, or
Stubborn
Joey Bean as we used to call her, she was kind of the one that bucked the trend
Yeah.
of cats hiding when they're hurt or ill. She was literally like, I may be ill, but I'm still going. I'm going to hurt myself further, but I'm going to do this kind of thing. It was just sheer blooded mindedness.
Stubborn old lady.
Oh, yeah. She was great. Oh, yeah, I got a black eye from my cat, Ginger. That was my first ever black eye. And they were a
Nice.
Ginger Tom.
Oh, you got black eye from your cat. You got stitches from your dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still loves animals.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, they're babies.
Yeah.
Even if they're violent, they're bubbies.
Well, it didn't go for me per se. I actually went through what actually happened that time.
Yeah, I believe
was-
you have.
I was on my knees
Mhm.
against the bed, and they were on the bed.
Yes.
So I was kind of like level with them. And I twitched or I spasmed or something, and they thought I was falling, so they went to grab me to save me. But they didn't let go. Because they thought I was still falling.
Got you.
That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I knew Toby didn't mean to bite you.
No.
Yeah,
no.
no,
He
he
was-
was lovely dog.
He was a friendly little thing.
Oh, yeah. Before they became my dog, so to speak, they were my brothers. So my brother was the first to bond with, so they got very protective over. So they would follow like a shadow. It was very rare you would see my brother without Toby.
Yeah.
Then my brother moved out. and he was lost, very lost. And it wasn't until a good year afterwards before basically sleeping on my bed.
Yeah.
So it still took a year after for Toby to warm up to me. But as soon as Leaf came around or my mum was around, that was it. Straight to them. It was just strange.
Did I ever meet Toby?
You may
Small
have...
terrier.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I met him when I came over for the Monty Python thing.
Yeah.
And he was very cuddly with me.
If I was alone with
precious
Toby when my brother was still living with
Yeah.
us, Toby would be growling at me. He'd be very like, basically,
Yeah.
my owner's not here, so to speak. I must protect. I'm watching you, kind of thing. If my brother's in the same room, lovable thing.
Fair enough.
Because there's like, you're in this room, you trust them, I trust them.
Makes sense.
And that's how Toby was. At that point, he was climbing all over my head and everything. Very much like how Jess tries to do with you.
Yes.
Is
Because
that
he would
just
climb on
a
the...
little dog thing?
Yeah.
It is 100% a little dog thing.
Because on our sofa, because it was old, I would sink down and the top of my head would be under the height of the back.
Yeah.
So they would be on the back of the sofa above my head. So not exactly on me, but yeah, paws dangling either side towards my shoulders.
Yeah.
He was an idiot.
Might rest his chin on your head, kind of.
Oh,
thing.
maybe. He didn't do that often.
No.
And of course he would howl.
Yes.
He
Yes, he
went,
did
la,
that a
la,
lot.
la, la, la. He would go, "Ow."
Yes, I remember.
I've never seen Jess howl. She just barks at everything and
Yeah.
literally nothing.
Do you know the other thing that would trigger Toby to howl? Do you remember?
No.
Rubber duckies.
Rubber duck.
Yes. Squeaky noises.
Yes.
Squeaky toys made him howl.
Now, squeaky toys trigger Jess to kill.
Yes.
That's what they do in most dogs.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened evolutionary-wise. Squeaky noise means kill.
Because to them it sounds very similar to the sound of struggling prey.
There we go, we taught each other an animal fact each today. Did I say that on mic or not?
I can't remember.
Cats do not see water in white bowls because they can't see the depth because it's to do with the refraction of light.
Through water and
Yeah,
white.
that's why cats stick their paws in bowls of water to see where the level is.
Yes, because they're like, nope, that's wet. Or they do what he is doing now of just slap. To be fair, I don't blame him. It's very warm in here, and
It is.
he
I've
is a
kind
very
of
fluffy little boy.
I've gotten used to it.
I have, but we're
Yeah.
not coated in fur.
It would be nice to some extent because then I wouldn't have to keep putting a jumper on and off.
Yes, but it also
What
means...
if you were too hot?
Yeah.
That's true.
And shave.
It was more meaning I could go
I mean,
outside and I'll
it
still
would be
warm.
optional.
If you were boiling,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have no other choice.
Ice bath.
Oh, no.
You would have another choice. It would just...
Suppose.
Also, why shave when you could just, like, dip yourself in Nair?
Or just be fluffy.
Or just be fluffy?
I'd like to be fluffy.
I-
I would like to be a furry.
I wouldn't, purely because I get too hot now all the time.
Yeah, but you know.
Like, could you imagine having to deal with that and then fur? I overheat when it's like 12 degrees outside. Imagine adding fur on top of that when we're having like 30-degree summers on a regular basis.
That's true, but...
I would die.
Ah, big stretch. It's so cute. I just want to go pick him up and just squish him. And be like the most irritating thing possible.
Cuteness aggression.
Is it
Yes.
Is it
I
Agnes?
want to pick you up and hurl you across the room.
It's so fluffy!
It's so
Oh,
fluffy.
yes, from Despicable Me. That
Yeah.
is Agnes.
Yeah.
Fluffy, I want to die. Floof.
I rewatched the one where they meet the Gru's brother Drew. I think it's the third one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because the second one
The second
is...
one was the girl, the woman.
It's the girl
Oh,
and the
yeah.
Mexican wrestler.
Yes, the chicken. That very vicious chicken.
Yes. And El Macho.
That's his name.
I didn't watch past that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, the first one was good. And
The third one's
you
okay.
can stop now.
I have watched them. I regretted watching both of them.
The second
Yeah.
one's I don't
The
remember.
second one was god awful.
Yeah, the third one's actually I quite like it because it's just so I think they embraced the chaos, so to
I mean, the
speak.
first one was
So it was more watchable.
one was genuinely like touching.
It was
The
good.
first one was an absolutely amazing film.
Yes.
The
and
second
then-
one is one of the worst DreamWorks productions ever made.
Illuminations.
Yeah.
One of the worst Illumination productions ever made. And the third one isn't much better than the second.
I think it was because they got obsessed with the minions. And minions were a breakout
Yeah.
thing, and it was like, let's add minions. It was
Oh,
like,
gosh.
okay, they have funny moments, but
Yeah.
And then they
The
made a
Rise of Gru.
Minions movie, and it was the
Oh.
worst thing ever.
The
I
Minions
was kind
Rise
of
of
amused by the
Gru.
Minions movie.
Sorry?
The villain in the Minions movie, like, hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I will
Which
give
one
you
is
that. What was her name?
It was something really like cliche evil.
They meet at the convention.
Yeah,
Was it
and
like
she wanted-
Madame
yeah.
she wanted-
Scarlet?
Something
I
like
think
that.
it was Scarlet.
It was Scarlet
something Scarlet.
I think it may have been Madame Scarlet.
Yeah.
I quite like that one. It was over the top at points. I think it's the same feeling I have with The Rise of Gru. It's too much minion. There's not enough Gru. But you saw how Gru became who he is. If it wasn't for this one minion,
Sorry, Scarlet Overkill.
that's it.
Scarlet Overkill.
Yes.
Yeah, if it wasn't for this one minion in that film, I think I would have just gone meh.
Yeah.
But this one minion literally just would not shut up. It's that annoying friend that just kind of goes on, oh yeah, and they said this and that and the other, and you know, like, oh my god, and this and that.
Yes.
Like, oh my, yeah, but of course in minion language.
So just gibbering
But gibbering. But it's just,
incessantly.
but seeing how they interact with other people and the other minions and how they all react with each other, those scenes I genuinely liked because I thought when I first met them, you're going to be pivotal. And his jabbering eventually saves the day.
That doesn't
And I found that
surprise me.
resolution quite fun. It wasn't your typical cliche. It was the typical cliche in the sense of I can tell who's going to be the one that saves the day, but not exactly why or how.
Fair enough.
So I enjoyed it for him.
I've just remembered my favourite little joke thing in the Minions movie. And it's when they're doing that very quick cut through time and it goes to 1940s and they're just in the Arctic. And I find that really funny because that is quite clearly Disney saying, nope, we're drawing a line.
I quite like the vampire one as well because that is for DreamWorks because of Hotel Transylvania. Because I think that actually starts on one of their birthdays, doesn't it? The first film with Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
I've not seen any of those films.
First one's good. Second one,
I've heard that the third one has really amazing animation.
I have also heard this, but
if it's the one with them on the cruise,
Yes.
yes, the animation is really good. The story and the plot,
I've
oh
heard
my
that.
God.
that
It
is quite often the case
it's
with
so
sequels for these kind of films.
It panders more to a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old will love it.
I mean, it's for kids.
But I think even a 5-year-old will be like, oh, what is this?
Fair enough.
I think you are overestimating how discerning the taste of a 5-year-old is.
I must
They
say,
are some smart individuals.
They are smart, but there is a difference between smart and discerning.
I
I
must
think-
say, DreamWorks can cut up some really fucking good sequels though.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, Puss in Boots.
Puss in
Oh.
Boots, Kung Fu Panda 2.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Kung Fu
And
Panda
3.
Kung Fu Panda 2 was my favourite movie until Puss in Boots 2 came out.
Yeah, I 100%
slightly-
believe that.
I'm slightly anxious about Kung Fu Panda 4.
I am and I'm not.
They
Slightly.
plotted
Oh,
6, so it's not just like, oh, Kung Fu Panda is doing good,
Yeah.
let's just keep
Yeah.
milking this. It's like, we actually have a plot.
I think it's more...
do with
Sequels
3.
were coming out because for the sake of sequels.
For a while.
For a long time. And when Puss in Boots 2 got announced, it was like, really? It
And then
of
it
like...
was amazing.
Yeah, because I think DreamWorks cracked it, whereas Pixar failed.
Massively.
Pixar was like, oh, that's a good film. 4 years later, the sequel comes out. Because it basically goes on the 4-year cycle. So if you think of it in that sense, it's straight away. The
It's
way
cash grab.
DreamWorks did it, they left how many years?
They wanted
They
to do
waited
with the
till they had a
characters.
good idea.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind that because that was a story worth telling.
And I think that's what
Absolutely, it
made
was.
it work so well. Is the fact we had time to not forget, but
No, I think that is right, though. We had time to move on from the story that they had already told.
Because we could go back and rewatch it if we wanted.
Yeah. But when was the last time you rewatched the first Puss in Boots film?
I barely remember it.
Same, because it was not very good. Which is why I'm all the more amazed that the sequel was
I think maybe
stunningly good.
Puss in Boots 1 was a bit of a cash grab.
Yes.
Because like everyone likes this character. And then Puss in Boots 2, they were like, we actually have a story we want to do with this character.
Yeah, because I think that's why I was anxious at first, because of Shrek with 1, 2, 3 and 4 coming out so quick.
Yes, and 2, 3 and 4 getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
Shrek 2 is amazing.
Yeah, Shrek
like,
2 is actually
it is
pretty good.
on par with the first one.
Yes.
And then 3, and then 4.
Yeah.
Really?
The whole Arthur story arc I didn't like much.
Yeah. And now there's talk of a Shrek 5, and
But this is why I'm
Puss in
slightly
Boots 2 does give me hope for that. Like I've been saying this whole time, I talk about DreamWorks, I'll go nuts. It feels like they actually care now.
Oh, I 100% agree. It's just, I'm holding my breath a little bit with it, because...
Literally take your time, it'll work. But at the same time, hurry up.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to see.
It's very much hare and tortoise.
Yeah.
Like, take your time.
But hurry the fuck up.
But it is still a race, so, you know, get here.
My brain just went to the now in a minute. But that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's very different.
That's purely because I think I mentioned this before. Soon originally meant now. I can't remember if I've talked about that on mic or not. And it's very similar with now in a minute. The Welsh translation didn't have a direct translation.
Sorry.
It's alright. I'm actually going to make a comment about those bits. I hate them.
They are the worst. I get that it's meant to reduce people throwing the lids on the floor.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
it's for
talking about
recycling,
bottle lids.
Yeah.
It's for recycling, but at the same time, it makes the drinking experience...
It also makes the bottles harder to reseal.
And me with grip issues, I hate them.
Yeah.
His paws are curled. They're like proper curled and tucked in.
Oh, baby
Are you
boy.
going to?
Oh,
His eyes are shut.
his leg is like halfway up.
Yeah,
he does
like,
this a lot.
I'm going to
It's
scratch
like
my ear.
He
no,
was
I'm
about
not.
to scratch, but then he gave up halfway through, and now the leg is just hovering there.
Oh, baby.
Little Solo. Little Solomon.
He is the cutest.
Oh, you said cutest.
He's like, I know you're talking about me.
Have you heard about the Doctor Who release schedule?
No.
Us Brits are fucking shafted.
Why?
It's getting simulcast. Midnight UK time on BBC iPlayer on the Saturday.
Which will be like 6 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Yeah.
9 a.m. Australian time. So the Americans are getting it at tea time Saturday.
Friday, but yes.
So they kind of sit down, have their food, and
Yeah,
watch.
Get home from work, have their dinner,
Yes.
watch the new Doctor Who.
Australia kind of turn it into their Saturday morning cartoon ritual.
Get up, make breakfast, watch Doctor Who.
I gotta stay up until 2 a.m. because the first 2 episodes are a double bill.
Well, you can go to bed. They're on iPlayer, so they're not going anywhere.
But I follow a lot of Doctor Who on YouTube, Doctor Who channels.
If you have an obsession with a show, you have to watch it when it's on.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Because otherwise, I have to wait 17 hours, or avoid phone for 17 hours, before it airs on BBC.
I was more thinking, wake up in the morning, put it on iPlayer.
That's probably what I'm ending up going to do, realistically.
Yeah.
But why do I have to do that? Why? Why do I have to wait until I wake up?
But how is that any different to
We
if they
British
uploaded it at
people-
9 a.m. here?
But we British people pay the tax, the
I
license fee.
completely-
We make the show. Why the hell are we getting shafted? American TV...
To be fair, most people are still up at those times.
Not a 6-year-old.
Yes, but it's not the 6-year-old that's paying the TV license.
But the British are paying for the show. We are paying the budget. American with Star Trek, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It gets announced. It gets aired about whatever time,
Yes.
and it's whatever time our time. But it's basically simulcast again.
I do understand
It's
where you're
American
coming
show.
from. My point is, as far as you're concerned, what is the difference between that and if they uploaded it at like 9 a.m. when you would still be asleep anyway?
I know it's terrible because of Around the World and all of that and the entitlement of it.
Yes.
But with the 60th anniversary specials last year, when they were aired on the BBC, they were put up on Disney Plus. Why aren't we having that? Why is it midnight UK, then 17 hours later on the BBC?
Oh, okay, I see your point.
Why have we got this split?
Because more
'Cause
people
the
are watching things on iPlayer than on the actual television now.
I mean,
and people just want to watch them as soon as they can.
I understand the BBC are struggling, and they have not got a grasp on the streaming stuff.
They don't have a grasp on anything, because otherwise they would have realised that their whole TV license model is crumbling like a week-old pastry. You're giving them credit with far more intelligence than they have.
But the thing is, the BBC worldwide part, they're kind of funding more than the license fee by licensing out.
Which is why
Top Gear and
they're
all
doing things like, hey, we're going to put this on iPlayer at the times.
Where's the benefit in...
Where's the benefit in putting one of their most profitable products in the place where the most people are going to see it at once? That is the question you are asking.
I just don't understand.
I understand what your complaint is. From a business perspective, it's stupid.
The fan point of view, it's stupid.
What, your complaint?
No, because I'm complaining it's stupid. It's like, I understand it's BBC Worldwide and all of this, that and the other. Well, it's actually not even that, it's Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And Wheels was saying to me earlier, oh, Disney could buy it if they want to. To which I said, no, the BBC won't sell. For two reasons in my mind. One, back in 1996, when we had the movie, they had the perfect opportunity to sell Doctor Who then. Because they were planning to sell it to Fox.
They were, and then they changed their mind.
Because this is the bizarre thing. The Americans say it flopped. The Brits say it was a success.
What, the film?
Yes.
It was a flop. It did awful.
For the UK, it did outstanding.
It did well in the UK, but in terms of global films,
I'm remembering correctly, though, do you want to know the stupendous fact about it that I learned recently? The amount of people in the UK and the US that watched it were a similar number, around the 7 to 8 million mark.
Yes.
But because of the proportion of
the percentage of population.
That's what was the deciding factor. But if you look at it,
that's
pure
how you
numbers,
kind of got to look at it.
Yeah, I know, but...
Well, you did then. Nowadays, there are actually enough people that it doesn't really matter what group you hit. You're going to hit enough people once you find an audience.
Yeah, it's just weird. But yeah, 1996, they could have sold it then. And also in 2005... the BBC won a court case against the Metropolitan Police.
Yes.
Over IP of using the TARDIS, well, the police box as a TARDIS. But the ruling was because it's kind of fallen out of fashion. That they basically went out to the street before Doctor Who Air basically went, do you know what a police public call box is? To a bunch of random people. And submitted it as evidence because about I don't know, I think it was only one age bracket said yes.
Yeah, probably like my grandparents' age bracket, because they existed in a time where phones weren't incredibly common. Nowadays, even as early as the 90s, every home and business had a telephone.
Most had a fax machine.
Everyone had a telephone, which meant if something happened that you needed to get hold of the police, you went into the nearest home or business and went, can you call the police?
Even the Red Public telephone boxes were
you could call them for free off there as well. And then, by the early 2000s,
they were gone.
Mobile phone boxes were becoming popular. Mobile phones were becoming popular.
Well, they did look like little boxes. They were known as bricks.
Yeah, they were quite blocky.
Nokia 3310s and all that. I miss those phones. I remember I had one of those Nokia 3310 brick. I dropped it, I threw it, I did everything to it. And it survived. Do you know what killed it?
Go on.
I got out the bath and I trod on it with my wet foot.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was just enough moisture to kill it.
Yeah.
But I used it out in the rain and all sorts. I was like, okay, fair enough. Then again, at that point,
I remember throwing one at an old cathode ray TV.
Oh no.
The TV fully went pop. And the phone was like, Yeah,
And
cool.
I wish phones were like that still.
So do I.
Like that form factor, as in a block.
Oh,
or a
I
brick.
just meant like indestructible
Yeah.
and could be used for home defense if necessary.
I've had a look at some tough phones.
Like the building site phones
Yeah.
kind of things.
I would like a more consumer version.
Yes.
Because they suffer a lot from things like overheating, battery swelling and all of that. They have a very short lifespan. But because they're built in mass quantities, they're able to keep the price low. But for a consumer, it's not really worth it. But I kind of would like a phone like that.
I mean, so would most people.
It's kind of the main reason I swapped to one of the Folds, the Z Flips.
Because
rather.
it protects your screen.
Not just that. When I'm sat on the bus or when I'm on my bike, vibrations and that with the old... I hear some people referring to them as candy bars. They're about the size of a chocolate bar or
Yeah.
bigger. Because they don't fit into your pocket completely, I'm paranoid they're just going to slip out.
That makes sense.
So for me, having a Z Flip, one of the choices, that was more than this, was the fact I could have it in my pocket and I could cycle, for example.
And it would be like
And it was-
securely in the bottom of
Yeah.
your pocket and you're not worried that
Yeah.
it's just going to go, woo!
Yes, I joined in with the craze of the big phones when they were big.
Yes,
But
I am
only
well
for
aware.
one generation. All the others were because my phone needed upgrading and I was just following the same family.
That makes sense.
It wasn't much choice after that.
Yeah, it
So-
was just this is what I've got, so I'll just get the
Yeah.
next one up.
But yeah, the Z Flip, what have I got? 4? Yeah. And the 6
Yeah.
is not far off from being announced, like press release. So I don't plan on getting the 6. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see if I can wait until the 8. Because by then they would have fixed it. Well,
Hopefully.
I hope they would have fixed their screen. Because it
Fingers
wasn't
crossed.
until the Note 8 or the Samsung Note 8
That they
after
really...
their battery fiasco. of the
Yeah,
Note
that
7.
was bad.
I was so gutted. I got the Note 7
I remember
and it was literally a day, maybe 2 after that's
The
when the
battery.
recall happened.
I remember meeting with you in town the day you got it.
Yeah.
And I had seen a news story about exactly that, the thing of,
Yeah.
oh, they've been released, but there's a fault where the batteries are blowing
Yeah,
up.
exciting. that as
And
well.
I told you I'd seen it, and you were like, oh, don't say that, I've just got one. And I was like,
Yeah.
oops. I would have very mixed feelings towards the recall, because on the one hand, bugger, I've just bought this thing. On the other hand, well, at least I've got it just before the recall, so I know mine is one of the affected ones.
Yeah. Well, they recalled and didn't even reissue. They just went, right, we'll work on next year's phone. It's like, fair enough.
They just refunded effectively,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Luckily, I didn't buy a contract out with it because that would have caused confusion.
No, it wouldn't. Other people that had that, just Samsung bought the contracts out
Oh, okay.
because Samsung had provided
Yeah.
a faulty product.
Whereas
so-
I just got a flat out. Because I buy my phones outright, basically.
Yeah, I
because-
remember you've said you buy it outright and get a SIM-only plan.
Yeah, because A is a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, in the long run.
B, I then don't feel like every 2 years I got to change my phone.
Yes.
So
'cause-
electronic waste, I might as well. Because a lot of phones now come with software updates for 7 years.
Mhm.
Hardware-wise, like as in the chip inside and
Yeah.
the batteries and that, they are getting longer. They're not as much as 7 years.
No, I think it's like
They're
4 or
averaging
5.
4 now. It's this whole planned obsolescence thing.
Yeah, they got caught
Yeah.
out with that. They got in so much trouble.
Because in the things with Apple predominantly.
Apple is good at getting themselves in trouble.
Oh, I know.
Um,
It's like they've finally given up and they've changed it to USB-C.
yes, well,
But do you know the
They-
stupid thing?
weren't really given a choice with
No.
that because they were basically told by the European Union, if you want to sell phones here, you're going to sell them with a USB-C.
But do you know the best bit?
Go on.
They were complaining and grumbling and taking it to court.
Yes.
But do you know what lost them the case, basically?
Go on.
You have provided your latest iPads,
Yeah.
so the latest like 2 generations up until that point, with USB-C ports. Why can't you put them in your phone? That was literally the rebuttal.
Well,
And
it
it
was
was
also the whole thing of, well, why do you need to make your own special charger when we can prove it's not as good? You're making a lower quality product
And charging 45 quid for it.
purely for the purpose
Yeah.
of proprietary technology.
It's why I don't agree with Apple.
No, I don't, because the level of proprietary bullshit they
And
pull
also-
is obscene.
I like customization. There is a such thing as too much.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't like to be told what I can have. Android, way too much choice. The amount of pay for stuff, like for themes and ringtones and that kind of customization, the widgets and how you can organise them.
Yes.
It can be very stimulant overload kind of thing.
Very much so.
Whereas with Apple, it's like, you only need this. But it's like, but I want a torch widget on my home screen. Oh, you can't have that. But I want one. You don't need it. You just swipe your screen from the top and you press the button. But no, I want to change my bottom right camera button into a torch. Oh, you can't have that. And that's the other thing I don't like. They've kind of gotten better with it now.
On Android, everything is
widgety.
Changeable.
Yes, everything is customizable. With Android, it's also, it's the Alphabet company and Google running it, but at the same time, it's the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion, that is.
I think that is a very accurate way of describing it.
Because I could choose like a Xiaomi, but that's China, and I don't particularly want to
has a whole other set of problems.
What with the Huawei
and the reputation China has for using child labour.
Yeah, it's why I've kind of gone down the Korean route of the phone.
I mean, they're not much better.
No. I actually found out recently, in Korea, Samsung is kind of not a bad name.
They're almost viewed as like Arasaka in the cyberpunk world, where they've got fingers in everything and they're not entirely trustworthy.
But over here...
over here it's just, hey, the phone company, yay.
And home appliance.
Not as
much,
much,
do you really need a fridge where you knock on it and suddenly the door goes see-through?
But do you need a phone that you can say, hey Google, look this up, and it will look things up for you? The answer to that question is no. It's very convenient, though.
Have you seen about their AI thing? Because they got these things like circle to search. That honestly looks like a cool feature. But this is why I haven't gone with the latest phone, because to be fair, I was kind of sucked into it for a bit. I was like, oh, actually, I would make use of those. Because it would also bring me back to having a stylus in my phone. That's the one thing I miss about the Fold, the stylus.
Yes.
Having notes since the 3rd generation to the 9th, basically until they were made obsolete. I miss it.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a lot of years. But yeah, they have this circle to search feature, and they have some other features as well that you can do under AI and all of that. Free until the end of 2024. Small print.
Great.
I'm so glad I spotted that.
Yeah, I would have been mad.
I nearly got suckered in. Nearly. And the other reason was I've only had my phone less than
You've had
just
it for
over
about a year.
It's about a year now, so I don't want to.
Because I think you got it like February last year.
I got it just before the Note 5 was announced. And I kind of read some of the spoilers and such for the Note 5, and I was like, you know what? The only big difference is the screen on the outside's a bit bigger. Nothing else really hardware, software side. So I might as well grab the 4 when it's on sale.
Yes, because...
Why not? Why pay $1,000 for a phone?
No, to be fair, what you do is you wait until the 5 releases when the 4's price will absolutely tank.
That's kind of what happened,
and then you
because
get the 4.
I think if I remember rightly, retail for UK, it was like 1,100, the one I got, because I got the one bigger memory. It came down to 750. So that's what I bought it for. Okay, it's still way too much.
For a phone.
But at least it's not over 1,000.